I think we can all relate to this. There are many situations where you say to yourself, I wish I'd have known. I could have saved myself a lot of money. Such is the case with moving into a senior living facility. Elder Advisors can help you. Their slogan, don't go broke in a nursing home. Do something, be proactive. Larry Weiss is back, ladies and gentlemen.
He's back. We missed him so much yesterday.
Happy New Year, Kentuckiana.
He's the owner, he's the president, he's the founder of Elder Advisors. Larry, welcome back. Love the tie sock combo. You're looking good.
Epiphany is tomorrow. The wise men are showing up tomorrow. That's for you religious people. For you pagan people, disregard what I just said. But we're having fun with that. Hey, would you focus, please? It is Happy New Year time. You know, it's a better day because I'm in the room with Kentuckiana's erstwhile favorite TV personality, John Ramsey.
Wow, he's ready to go today.
And you know what? Let me tell John. Let me tell you how it is.
Okay? Tell me how it is.
I'm going to tell you, baby. Tammy says don't interrupt. Kentuckiana, Tammy's the producer. She runs the show.
I'm zipping it.
So anyway, you know, we're doing our workshops next week, and I checked with Kentuckiana's only weatherman, Kevin Harnett, Wave 3 Weather. Kevin has assured us we're going to have beautiful, temperate weather for the people to come out to the workshops. Wait a minute, Tammy. Tammy, I told you about my New Year's resolution. No, I can't. All right. I told Tammy, the show's producer, that I had a New Year's resolution, and I'm going to break it on live television.
Whoa, this is like bigger than like Harry's new book, you know, Prince Harry's new book.
Bring the children in. Yeah. Bring the children in, because I promised this year, 2023, I would go an entire year on live television and never comment on how incredibly good looking you are, John Ramsey. I mean, you just bring it.
Not even one segment.
I mean, your tone, your jacket, the way the jacket falls, everything about you. You're the, wait for it, total package. Love John Ramsey. Back to the show.
Let's talk about a workshop. Who wants to talk about a workshop?
All right, Lindsay Fleming.
I want to talk about a workshop.
I want to talk about Lindsay Fleming. She's my boss.
He is on his game. Okay, Senior Vice President Lindsay Fleming here. Okay, you have workshops. Yes. There are answers to a lot of questions that people are sooner or later going to have to deal with, right?
Yes. And we haven't had a workshop since October, so it is time, Kentuckiana. It's time to come out.
Freeworkshop.com.
It's free. There's no pressure. You know, we're not like getting a whole lot of personal information at the door, like, oh, I don't want to go, because there is no reason not to go. There is no reason not to go. It's entertaining. It's fast-paced.
I have no idea what she means by that one.
It's entertaining. Larry will be there. But you get a lot of questions answered. It's just some information. Y'all, come out. If it's not for you, you can leave. It's an hour of your time. Like, seriously, it's an hour. But I think what you'll find is that there are things that apply to you, whatever stage of life you're in. So you may be in that crisis plan where you've got a loved one who's in a nursing facility. You may be writing checks for $9,000, $10,000, $11,000 a month. You just may be like, hey, I'm thinking about retiring in the next 4 to 5 years. What do I need to do? There's something for you there too. So it's very important to come out to the workshops and just take a look, just have a listen, see if there's anything we can do for you.
Yes, indeed. Well said, Lindsay. And we have a lot of fun, but with that being said, there's something you're very serious about, and that is saving people a lot of money, because if you don't know the rules, believe me, they'll just take your checks and go, hey, we're all happy, right? But you, if you know have the knowledge that you have and all your team, talk about what you do exactly there for those who are not familiar.
Well, it is true. And once again, you've demonstrated the community why you are, you know, you ask the hard questions, not the powder puff questions. You are the television personality for all things television for Kentuckiana. John Ramsey, Wave 3. Catch it at noon, Wave 3.
Thank you, Larry.
So in any event, it is good news, because for a husband and wife, if one spouse goes into care, we can protect all the assets. Now, there's people out in Kentuckiana now listening, wait a minute, folks, that's barbershop law. Please disregard. It's almost
all the assets.
Yeah, you know, husband, wife, I'll have people coming in. The husband's in care. The wife is really stressed out. Her daughter brought her in. The wife is convinced she's going to have to sell the house, move in with the daughter, because she's being governed by all the barbershop law or the beauty shop law. And it's always negative. You know, we thrive in a negative world. It's always bad news, bad news, bad news. They want to tear you down. That doesn't have to happen if you know the right people. And I would suggest elder advisors are the right people, because so much of this is a financial component at the kitchen table. So for husband and wife, we can protect all the assets. For a single person, we can protect about half of the assets. But honestly, more than the money, I'm concerned about time. Time is our most precious commodity, and that's the element that I'm most concerned about in my personal life and in my professional life. It's the time. Money's one thing, but it's the time, and to take the stress off your shoulders. These kids come in, we had a couple coming in yesterday from I can say Bardstown. Bardstown's part of Kentucky, Nelson County. They came up, and they're in their early 60s, and they're just drained. You know, they're drained. You know, they're convinced they're going to lose the house. That's not the case. There's all kinds of things. We had there's 7 of us working with elder advisors, and so we were doing that and sitting down just to give them that peace of mind to take the weight off the shoulders. So it's not just the money, it's the weight off the shoulders. And so families have someone to call on a Saturday afternoon when they get this goofy piece of mail, or someone's calling from the facility and they have a question about mom's dietary concerns. Lindsay can kind of take care of that. So it is money, but it's also peace of mind.
I love hearing that.
We have a 4 o'clock coming in today, and we're kind of squeezing her in, but her mom's at a facility and called yesterday and said she's got to go. She's got to go, and they can't take care of her at home. And I mean, that's a real crisis plan.
Yeah.
And we make ourselves available to meet with those folks, and I can't wait to sit down with that family and just say, here's how we can help.
You said something right there, Larry, and you said it yesterday, Lindsay, so let's talk a little bit more about this. I don't think people realize, you talk about time, how many layers there are, and that's why you guys have expanded. Yesterday we had a senior real estate agent on, and you guys take care of placement. You're talking about dietary needs, whatever the case may be. Talk about some of the layers, because I think folks would, if they approach elder advisors, it does take the weight off your shoulders on all of these different things, and there's many. Yeah,
and I was taking a phone call on the way in, and I have a client who was at an assisted living and needed to go to skilled nursing care, and so there's a lot of logistics, right? Well, is there a bed? Well, there was her bed at the assisted living, but then there's a bed at the facility, and then the chair, and then the medicines, and she was at the hospital, and then do we call this agency in? And both the facility that she was at, the facility she's going to, both great facilities. The son's involved, but he's tired, right? And there's just what I serve as a care coordinator and as a board certified patient advocate is to just kind of pull all of those together, right? So I'm just, let me make that phone call for you. Let me text that person. Let me get the answers for you, because, you know, he's over there waiting to clean out an apartment, you know, that's very important.
And still trying to work.
And trying to work. And it's just, people are exhausted. And it's like, that's our job, right? We're taking the weight of the shoulders of these adult children that are trying to deal with the logistics and everything. It's maddening. I mean, it's exhausting. And, you know, for me, it doesn't feel like work because I love it. And it energizes me. And, you know, it's a blessing to be able to do.
And I know you feel the same way, Larry. It's rewarding to help people. Not only save them money, as you said, to make them feel better. When you go to one of these workshops, in the next segment, we're going to talk more about that. That's a big difference. When you walk in, you're going, I have all these questions. It's a little overwhelming. And how do they feel when they walk out, Larry?
Worst case scenario, they feel better than they did when they walked in.
Best case scenario?
Best case scenario, they're relieved. And if they're crying, it's tears of joy because they realize they've got somewhere.
We've seen that. We've seen that. That happens a lot. I mean, then they're weeping when they come in, and they're weeping when they leave because they're breathing deep. I mean, you can literally see their shoulder.
I've got someone I can call.
Yes, I've got someone, an expert.
I've got somebody in my corner
who is networked in and can contact the right people and get answers quickly. Okay, again, elder advisors. We'll talk more about these workshops that you see on the screen. Talk about some of the questions that you can answer, that you'll have answered there. Talk about some of the experts that will be available. That's next on Wade Listens. Welcome back, elder advisors. Don't go broke in a nursing home, and it can happen. If you've heard horror stories, some of those may be true. Let's avoid those completely. Okay, workshops tomorrow.
Freeworkshop.com, Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Monday and Tuesday. I realize that there's a lot of information to cover, but this will give people a good handle on things, right? So how do these workshops run? Let's talk about that.
Well, the winter months, we do the 10 a.m. because it does get dark like at 6 o'clock now. So, yeah, Monday and Tuesday, 10 a.m., Kentucky, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn. off Crittenden, and then Tuesday morning in Indiana at Clarksville to Hampton Inn at 10 a.m. But it's fast-paced, and as Lindsay alluded to in the previous segment, we haven't done a workshop since October. Yeah. So we've already had quite a bit of response in RSVPing. People can go to thefreeworkshop.com and register, or they can call the office, 855-LARRY55. It answers all your questions and problems. But on the break, we were kind of making a comment about how some people just can't be helped. And that's probably true in all walks of life, whether you're 20 years old in college or 40 years old, whatever. But before Lindsay came on board, when I would have people that were on the precipice. I never knew what side of the fence they were going to fall on.
Meaning their care level. Like, do they need care? Are you okay in home or skilled nursing? Like,
excuse me. We've talked before. You can't upstage me on live television.
I'm sorry. I'll leave.
Remember? Because
Kentuckiana needed clarification. They didn't know what.
Okay. Yes, that's why you are the senior vice president. Folks, she signs my paycheck now. Okay, but in the care level component, someone would come into the office, and mom is still at home. The 60-year-old kid's wife is there taking care of mom, and they're not really sure what's going to happen. And all I can really do is kind of give them an overview, but we're not in a crisis mode yet because they're convinced she's going to be fine. She can stay there.
And knock on wood, we hope she is.
And knock on wood, we hope, right. So all I could offer them was to say, a couple little pointers, but say, I need to be the first non-family member you call if she goes into care or if she's at the hospital before she even gets to rehab. I need the phone call because the sooner I know Kentuckiana, I can protect assets. Whether it's a husband and wife, one spouse goes in, I can protect all the assets that a single person have. But in this example, a lot of times that was it. I didn't have the care component, which is what Lindsay brings to the table, because now I can say, Lindsay, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I can come on as a board-certified patient advocate and just kind of help navigate. So there are tons of resources in our community, and which side of the river you live on is a component, your age, your insurance, all of those are variables for what resources are available. The gift that I have with 15 plus years of experience in senior care is I know most of the resources, or I know where to go to unlock that certain resource. I don't make decisions for my families. I make no decisions for my family. I just help my families understand what's out there. And we are so blessed. We are so blessed with having the opportunity to, in Indiana and more so in Kentucky, there's services available in the home, and people don't realize that. And I love Larry's Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home. Love it. It's so good. But don't go broke at home either.
Right.
Paying for your care needs and the high cost of aging. It's just very expensive.
Touché.
There you go. Yeah. What happened was you guys were loving on each other, and your mic got knocked off.
I've got a microphone.
Got turned off. Yeah. So now you've got a microphone.
Solo. Hey guys, I'm ready. I'm ready for my solo.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm comfortable with the microphone.
I know you are.
So you talked about a very common snenario there, Larry.
Yeah.
You said with a couple taking care of their parents,
right?
But everyone's different. You'll handle everything.
Yeah, we're kind of like a doctor. We've seen it before. It's nothing new.
I'm not a clinician,
but and I'm certainly not an attorney. But I had a family yesterday coming in, and it was very, very sad. The son brought dad in. Dad had some marks on his face where the wife had some behavioral issues. Clearly needs help, certainly on the clinical side. But I think dad is so close to the son he can't see. And I was really kind of stunned that it was like, well, I'm going to go home and think about it. I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking about. I mean, it was just bad. But we can't help everyone, and I've kind of had to accept that in life.
It's sensitive.
It is sensitive, and it was very sad.
And I take a great deal of joy. The clients that I work with is just helping them normalize what's happening to them. And so much of, especially if you're dealing with an aging parent with dementia, there's so many behavior expressions and things that seem really odd and nobody really talks about, and they're actually really common. And so just normalizing, right? Just normalizing aging for people. Like I really like to look at an adult child and say, I know that doesn't help, but I've seen that before. That happens a lot. And that brings me joy as well. Is kind of helping people understand that.
And Tammy, the show producer, is, because this is Wave 3 Listens Live with Larry Weiss.
I think it's
with John Ramsey today.
Thank you for letting me join you. But I do think that everything is personal. But what's really great, and you said this yesterday, and you can confirm this, there's a Q&A session. I mean, you get all this general information that you need, but then it's going to be like, okay, your situation is different. You have a question. Boom.
Well, and the other part of that is the peace of mind that, I was saying earlier, taking the stress off. The peace of mind will really be illustrated for your viewers tomorrow when Autumn Schneider from our company, our placement angel, and Tim Goebel, our document Jedi. Okay, that's his title.
That's his title, Document Jedi.
He knows, and he's supposed to bring his lightsaber. I said, Tim, bring your lightsaber.
So it seems to me when you say that Jedi, he's networked to get things done.
He knows how to get the paperwork because it's such a horrendous file you have to put together, and that's part of the stress. You know, families. I've had families look at it, I go, I'm still working. I don't have time for that. That's what we're doing. That's what Tim does. He makes sure to order that stuff. And on the other part is placement, because finding a bed is often extremely difficult. It's obviously always stressful, but that's part of what Lindsay brings to the table on the clinical, and then Autumn on the placement to find a place.
And so this is a great example. We had an out-of-town adult child who mom was sick at the hospital, and she's like, I can't meet with you tomorrow. I was like, we can see you tomorrow at 10. Come into the office at 10. I can't. We're driving to Frankfurt to get the birth certificate for this thing. And I said, you're not going to Frankfurt.
Yeah, that's completely
Come in and see us. You know, and that's what Tim does. So he helps track down all the vital statistics and everything. And we've got such an amazing team at Elder Advisors, and it serves, you know, it serves our clients so well.
Another word for, or I guess another phrase for, you know, peace of mind would be take away the hassle.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it's a lot of work.
Well, I mean, the time. We talked about the money, but the money we're able to save, but the time. Oh my goodness, the time we're able to save families.
And speaking of time that matters, do it now. Get ready for this workshop. Talk to me, Larry. How do they do it?
Yeah, they can go to freeworkshop.com. We'll be there Monday morning, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn on Crittenden Drive, right off the expressway by Cracker Barrel down by the airport. And Tuesday morning for our Indiana folks, or the people that can't make it on Monday, Hampton Inn on Broadway Street off Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. You can go to freeworkshop.com or 855-LARRY55, where all your questions are answered at 855-LARRY55. And the producer wants to know if we have time to do a duet for Sonny and Cher. I got you, babe.
Attend the workshop. I promise you.
Yes, please come to the workshop. There will be no solos.
It won't be boring. I promise you. You won't fall asleep. Yeah, it's going to be good information. So again, we'll talk more with Elder Advisors.
Hi, April.
Tomorrow. All right, we'll take a little break here, and then coming up, we'll tell you about what's happening at 2 o'clock. Wave Country with Dawn G. A preview is next. Whenever I have Elder Advisors on the show, I get a lot of emails and people with a lot of questions. You can have those answered with Elder Advisors, and the gentleman to my left is Mr. Larry Weiss, who is the owner and the president of Elder Advisors. Don't go broke in a nursing home. That kind of says it, because I think people don't realize it's going to happen sooner or later, and when it does, there's a lot of layers here, and that means a lot of money unless you know how to, I'm not going to say bypass the rules. You got to know the rules.
We work within the rules.
Play rules that are beneficial to you, right?
Yeah, and you know, the older I get, the wiser my dad becomes. And I'm blessed. I still have both my parents, and Dad said, know one thing and do it well. This is what we do. We help families, give them peace of mind, and you know, there's always the financial component, but it's just a peace of mind. We're doing our workshops next week. I got the okay from Kevin Harned. I was invited to the inner circle of the weather chamber with Kevin Harned, his weather team.
That's pretty cool.
Why go anywhere else but Wave 3 Weather, Kevin Harned? Much like John Ramsey for television, Kentucky. It's right here.
You know, that little weather cave is kind of exclusive. Like, I've been here 12 years. Kevin has never invited me. Never been invited. Because you got Doppler radar. You got,
yeah, right?
Yeah, you got all the ISO bars.
There's a little piece of paper taped up. No John Ramsey. And I'm like, I'm comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Okay,
it's because I love you.
Let's talk about some of the layers. Obviously, layer number one is, look, you've heard rumors about, you know, $15,000, $10,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month, and those are real. It's real money.
Crazy.
So number one is, first of all, you're going to help people hold on to those assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just take the stress off people's shoulders, because I've got a gentleman that's coming in today. I talked to him yesterday. He knows everything about his business. He knows nothing about this business. And he said, I'm just turning it over to you, and that's what you do. And I appreciate that. And it's actually a referral, which is gold. You know,
it worked for them. They want it to work for a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
And so much of our business is generated from the medium of television. John Ramsey, Wave 3. Who doesn't love Wave 3 John Ramsey? I know I do. But yeah, when you get a referral from someone, it's like, look, we sadly went through this a year ago with our mom. Why don't you call these guys? They answer the phone, which is refreshing, Kentuckiana. How many people out there are just stymied with, well, the phone, they went to voicemail or they got disconnected? When you call us, if we don't answer, we return the call in mere minutes because this is stressful stuff. But there's a financial component that we help families protect assets so they don't go broke in a nursing home. If it's a husband and wife, we can help the family keep all the, all the assets for the at-home spouse. If it's a single person, about half of the assets. But also, more than that, Autumn, our placement angel, helps families with placement. Because let me tell you what, placement is a 4-letter word. It's a bad word. It's tough.
It is tough.
It is very tough, and Autumn has really excelled at finding and developing those relationships to find forever homes for clients because it is very tough. Lindsay, the senior vice president of the company, who's sadly my boss now. I'm not happy about it, but it's turn of the life.
That's the way it goes.
Circle of life. Yeah. She's up in Greensburg, Indiana today, visiting a patient doing personal care. She's an advocate as a personal care coordinator. She advocates for families. She visits with families, and she just brings a different perspective. When she's visiting a client in the nursing home, it's different than when mom or the brother goes in. When she goes in as an independent advocate, everybody takes notice of that, and she can ask questions that most people don't think about to advocate for the family, and that's something that we've been able to bring to the table since Lindsay's been on with us for, coming on 2 years now. So there's a lot that we do, and I got to tell you, I'm blessed. I'm living, I'm not existent, and to see everybody at Elder Advisors, if I start rattling off names, I'll forget someone. So I'll just say they all do a great job because it is a team effort. There's now, I think, 8 of us now. We've got another person coming on the 1st of March. Lindsay told me we're hiring this person. I didn't even get a choice. I mean, she's just running my life now. We're bringing this person on board, Larry, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I can see the need for expansion because the reason this partnership has been so good between WAVE and Elder Advisors is because we raise awareness about all the different layers and the things that you guys take care of and make it turnkey, and as you said, give you peace of mind. Okay, we talked about asset protection. We talked about how tough placement is. Sure. There's do I need to sell the house kind of questions.
Right.
There's look, mom needs special care. Dad has a certain issue, right. Whether it be dementia or something that's unique to him. All of these things you guys take care of.
Well, we do, and we certainly try very hard to accomplish that. The gentleman I'm working with today, mom is at home. He already flat out said she should be in care 6 months ago, but she has dementia, and he said she's kind of acting out a little bit. And I said, well, but he said, well, she hasn't had any violent episode or struck anybody. And I said, well, that's really good, because much like the Seinfeld reference, and they're writing in the little book. What are you writing? What are you writing? What are you writing? Oh, you can't see. If it's in the book, it's in the history. It's in what I think Autumn would call the clinicals, and it makes placement much more difficult if there's been episodes like that. So it makes our job more difficult, but it also makes our job more important for clients to engage us because they cannot navigate this themselves, or if they can, it's going to be a much longer road to hoe trying to do it themselves.
Yeah, and let's talk about something that I think people are very aware of. Is when it's personal, that means emotions are involved.
Yeah.
And what you guys do is level-headed, save you money, and take the stress off. Because I think a lot of times the family dynamic can be complicated. You've dealt with this.
Yeah.
One of them is trying to be like, okay, I own this, I've got it. Mom trusts another one more. Dad is going, I've got it. You guys can help navigate this.
John, this is once again, not that the viewing public of Kentucky and Wave 3 needs a reminder of what an erstwhile intelligent TV host you are.
Thank you so much, Larry.
But you really did hit the nail on the head, because one of the first questions I ask families, if I've got mom and the daughter there, I'll ask mom. I said, well, how many kids do you have? And she says, well, I've got 3, and she may have her daughter there. And I said, well, what about the other 2? And they'll say Mary and Susie or whatever. And I say, does everybody get along? And more often than not, they kind of look at me, and they're like shocked that I ask. And I said, you know what? Family dynamics is extremely important. That's what you were alluding to. Because if there's a problem, it's only going to get worse. And we got to kind of get around it, deal with it, address it. So the family dynamic is very important. And sometimes mom is being fed the barbershop law that we talk about. The information families are being told at the barbershop, at the McDonald's Coffee Club every morning from 7 to 9. And it's well-intentioned, but it's wrong, Kentuckiana. All it does is stress you out.
So at your workshops, do you deal, like, okay, I mentioned this one, and maybe you can address this now. It's like, I've heard I'm going to have to sell the home. Barbershop law, everyone's told them, I got to sell the home. That's not necessarily true, right?
Often it's not the case. Or if we do have to sell the home, we're going to do it on the family's terms, which are always much better than someone else's terms, and get maximum dollar for it so you don't have to. You know, I'm not an attorney. I'm also not a fireman. You know, I'm also not a doctor either. I'm also not Garrett Moore. But we've invited Robert Marshall. He's a tax CPA attorney. He'll be doing our guest at the Kentucky workshop next Monday. And Laura Williams at the Tuesday workshop for the Indiana folks in Clarksville. So we're delighted. The weather is looking really good. You know, I think Kevin, you know, he likes to throw his big words. It's an upward trajectory of a warming trend. I guess that means it'll be nice next week. I don't know.
I think it will be.
Yeah, right? So we'll have good weather, Kentucky, and there's no reason not to come out Monday and Tuesday. It's worth an hour of your time. It's fast-paced. We're going to have fun. You're going to learn something. Whether you like it or not, you're going to learn something.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you know, the family dynamic is unique to everyone, but there's a lot of unique things that go on when it comes to entering a senior facility.
Yeah,
so will there be a Q&A session?
There's always a Q&A session. It is fast-paced, and I try to tell the folks, the attendees, you know, I want you to ask a question, but then we got to keep moving on because I want it over. I want to be able to help the people because I had a situation where the guy just, let's just say he was very inquisitive. And it got to the point where a guy is like, here, I'm going to go ahead and make my appointment. This guy just keeps going on and on and on. So I try to do what I can, say, sir, that's why you want to come in for the private consultation next week, because then we'll talk about those special family dynamics because everybody's is different. So we want the questions asked, but we get into the soap opera stuff, save it for next Monday and Tuesday.
The workshops are very popular, and that is because there's so many unknowns, and that's what you do. Is like, okay, we're going to rip off the curtain. The wizard's right here.
That's right. He's standing right there, fully clothed, because we're respectable people.
But it is good information.
Yeah, and
it's going to happen sooner or later, right?
It is. It is. And you know, the thing is, so many people in this crisis plan where mom is getting some home health, or maybe they just went to the hospital and they're getting some rehab. You definitely need to be there because they're under the false illusion, well, I've got plenty of time. You know, like Lindsay likes to say, the 100 days of the Medicare rehab, as Lindsay says, it's a unicorn. It does not exist, Kentuckiana. I don't know of anybody that's got the full 100 days because typically after 20 days, they can cut you at any time. They'll usually give you a 48-hour notice on a phone call, and you're on your own. And you're on your own. And then the reality really hits because either it's take mom home, well, we can't do that. You know, it's this 2-story house. Well, you know, well, then write us a check for $9,500. Well, we don't want, well, you know, so I need to come to the workshop. Don't go broke in a nursing home means you don't have to.
Don't go broke in a nursing home. And you know what? Advocate is a good word for it. You know, you need someone representing you when your loved one enters a senior facility.
We go to bat for the families, take some of that stress off. Because usually what happens is there's one family member that's doing 99% of the work and the other ones are just kind of not doing a lot. So we take the stress off that caregiver so they can have a life and maybe go get their hair done every now and then and not worry about the phone ringing all the time.
All right. So again, these workshops, very valuable information. It's worth your time. They move quickly. And Larry, you're kind of entertaining.
Kentuckiana. Monday, 10 a.m. Hilton Garden Inn on Crenton Drive, exit 132, 10 a.m. Don't go broke in nursing home. You go to freeworkshop.com. Tuesday morning for the Indiana people at the Hampton Inn on Broadway off Veterans Parkway in Clarksville at 10 a.m. You can go to freeworkshop.com or 855-LARRY55. They both answer all of life's questions. Right, Peyton?
Home run for Larry Weiss. Okay, we'll take a little break here, and then Don G will join us and tell you what's happening at 2 o'clock on Wave Country. A little preview next. It's a huge ordeal. If you have a senior loved one who's getting ready to move into a senior facility, there's a lot of layers here. That's why we talk to elder advisors, because they're the only ones with the answers, the experts. With us now is Larry Weiss, who is the president of Elder Advisors, and Lindsay Fleming, who is the senior vice president.
She's my boss.
Yeah, Lindsay's here and Larry is here. Okay, the word of the day you were telling me.
Word of the day. You know, I think it would be better if it comes from you, because you are the television voice for Kentuckiana. John Ramsey, what's the word of the day?
Protection is the word of the day. Protection.
Did you get that?
Protection.
Protection. Protection. Peace of mind, but protection. We try to offer protection to people and provide peace of mind. And I think that was demonstrated probably in real time with today, with the road trip that Miss Lindsay had today.
I did. I was like, I came running in.
You went to Corden.
I was in Corden.
That's my old stomping grounds.
They might be watching.
Old stomping grounds.
Right.
But yeah, and I was having a conversation with this gentleman, and like so many people do, you know, we don't make people money, right? It's not about making people money. It's about you're at an age and a stage when you realize you want to hold on to what you've worked your entire life to do. And that's so important, and it's just such a relief to be able to look at families and say, we can protect that. We can take that off the table. We can leave legacy money for your family, so that even after you're gone, you know, your children are still enjoying the fruits of your very, very hard labor. So that's an important part of what we do.
What can possibly happen, Larry, if people do not call elder advisors or go to one of these workshops? Get the information at the very least. Get the information. But if they don't have the right information, it can be a horror story. You've seen it happen a lot.
It does, and we talked about it yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Is when a family comes in. I had the gentleman the other day when he came in, nothing but the car keys and set on the table. That's usually a bad sign. That means he's on the outside looking in. So when I start talking to him, kind of triaging the case financially, trying to offer protection, I'm asking these questions and stuff, and he didn't know because he wasn't the power of attorney. And then I told him, well, then you need to engage an attorney, because you know what? I'm not a lumberjack. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a UPS pilot. I'm also not an attorney. So if there's a legal component, I'll refer him and say, simply, you need to get legal counsel, find an attorney to prepare those documents, because you need power of attorney, because the bank is not going to talk to you. He said, well, I know that. So he's already tried. So, you know, he had no idea what her income was, just nothing. I mean, this poor gentleman was really in the dark. And, you know, if you're going to get protection and peace of mind, you got to start stepping up. And that's what we talk about at the workshop. We're going to have tax CPA attorney Bob Marshall at our Kentucky workshop next Monday, talking about the legal nuances, because I'm not an attorney, and Laura Williams on the Indiana side talking about these very measures, because they are important. A lot of what we do is at the kitchen table. So we're trying to help tell families in a crisis plan, don't go broke in a nursing home. You know, for husband and wife, we can protect pretty much all the assets, and for a single person, about half. There's a different matrix for both set of facts, but it always starts for me at the kitchen table, because that's where pretty much everything is. We're looking at it. Then when there's that legal component, we always refer them to the attorney, but so much of it is just the kitchen table stuff, as Lindsay alluded to, just showing you how to hold on to it.
Which is interesting, which is what I was doing in Corden, right? Because I had Dad who was there, but I also had 2 adult children and their set of circumstances, and kind of what we discovered is, well, the strategy for Mom and Dad is much different than maybe the strategy we would work out for the 2 adult children. And so there's something for everybody at the workshop, and it's very, very important that you guys come out. The RSVPs have been rolling in. It looks like it's going to be a great crowd.
Autumn's been busy on the phone today.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Autumn.
So it's just a great time to come out, and we're going to touch a little bit on everything, but at minimum, you will feel better when you leave. At minimum, you'll have this little nuggets of knowledge. It's like, I need to consider that. Even if you don't act, I need to consider that moving forward. And that can be important. That can make a difference between a major crisis and a minor inconvenience down the road.
You like education, educating people. Okay,
you have to know something.
And I think what they're going to be surprised about is when you hear this topic, you know, senior living and the cost, it's like, oh no, you cringe.
Yeah,
and you're saying you're going to get good news. You're going to feel better, as you mentioned, Lindsay, walking out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so to Lindsay's credit, when she met the family, it was an invitation. She'd had it standing for a couple weeks. Mom and Dad were of advanced age, and for the most part, they were taken care of. But a couple of the children were there as well. And so Lindsay, just in kind of talking to Mom and Dad, the kids were kind of like, well, take it back, Lindsay. You were there. I wasn't. But
well, it's just an opportunity to, because at the workshop, we kind of asked 3 questions, right? Who here is in crisis? Like, we're in a hospital stay, we're at a rehab stay, we're cutting checks for $9,000, $10,000, $11,000. Who's in crisis? Who's like the house is smoking, but it's not flaming yet, right? It's not fully engulfed. We're having more falls, more trips to the emergency room. That's sort of a pre-crisis. And then who's here just because they want to be proactive? Best time to plant the tree 20 years ago, second best time today. And that's really where the adult children were. Nothing is wrong with these adult children. They're perfectly happy, traveling around, health, God blessing, the blessing of health. There's things that we can do to protect them and protect their assets so the crisis never ever comes, right? They're just ready for it. And that's such a beautiful thing. And we can do that for you, Kentucky, and if you come out to the workshop.
Yep. Okay, so invite them to the workshop, and a lot of answers, a Q&A. I mean, it's all good. And
you're going to learn something, even if you don't try.
Yeah, and it moves quickly. I mean, I mean, I'll give you this.
It's
Larry,
fun.
you are entertaining.
I'm a beautiful woman. I don't mind telling you.
But the information is serious.
It is serious, and we make it in a fun way. You know, education is fun. It can be. But come out Monday, February 6th, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn, down by the Louisville Airport in Crittenden Drive, exit 132 off I-65, right next to the Cracker Barrel. And for Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn in New Albany, excuse me.
Clarksville.
Thank you, in Clarksville.
New Albany.
I'm on new medication. So in any event, Tuesday, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn on Broadway off Veterans Parkway for the Indiana people, Tuesday, February 7th at 10 a.m.
Or the Kentucky people that can't make it Monday, y'all. It's right across the river. Use the bridge.
Or what about the Hoosiers? If they can't make it Tuesday, they can come to Kentucky on Monday.
Absolutely.
Don't be a hater.
Absolutely.
Right. We love everyone.
You do not have to get your passport stamped to go from Indiana to Kentucky, Kentucky to Indiana.
This is true.
That was good.
Yeah.
You know, you're just upstaging me all day. I'm going home. I want a Pop-Tart. I want a Pop-Tart. I'm going home.
Okay, what kind of information will you learn at the workshop? We'll talk more about that coming up. And yes, good information. Put money in your pocket. Mom and Dad worked hard for this, so make sure they can retain all of their assets. We'll talk about that next on Wade Listens. Larry and Lindsay are here from Elder Advisors. So, okay, from what I understand at these workshops, some of it, Larry, is this wrong? Some of it is like you've got to get rid of the misconceptions and the mysteries. It's kind of like Men in Black. You want to go, forget what you've heard.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's talk about the truth.
We will not brain zap you. We will not brain zap you.
John, you need to take a little rest now, because that was a good one.
Thank you.
That was a good zinger. I mean, that was like really insightful.
We might blow your mind with the actual reality, but we won't scan your brain physically.
But, you know, a couple things. At the workshop, they're always well attended. But there's always a seat empty or whatever. And I'll always point to that seat and try to remember it because it's kind of dramatic. I'll look at the seat and I'll say, you know, there's a reason there's no one in that seat right now. Because the person that should be in that seat has been completely just blown away with the mind of barbershop law. Nothing can do it. There's no help. You know, my guy at the car, at the car repair.
I don't want to get divorced. Yeah, so there's nothing I can do.
There's nothing I can do.
I'm not going to sell my house. So there's
I'm going to lose all my money. There's a reason why there's 2 seats empty at the workshop, because there are some people that just subscribe to the negativity that nothing can be done because they've just conceded to the barbershop law, which is always well-intentioned, but it's usually wrong, and it's certainly stressful at a minimum. So when you come out, you know, I always applaud the people that do attend because they at least have an open mind to learn and maybe realize that the ship hasn't sunk yet. And maybe taking some water, but we can bail it out and patch it and get it afloat so you don't go broke a nursing home. Because the reality is you don't have to. And one of the biggest misconceptions people have is the unicorn. What do I mean by the unicorn, Lindsay?
Well, the unicorn, and this came up actually in my previous appointment today, but doesn't Medicare or Medicaid, because sometimes people don't even know the difference between Medicare and Medicaid, which is fine, you wouldn't, but does Medicare or Medicaid pay for like 20 or 100 days in a nursing facility? And short answer, it can sometimes, but it's completely nuanced. And you have to have a hospital stay. So we have to have a qualifying hospital stay. So really you can't Medicare is not going to pay for your nursing home stay unless you've had a crisis, the fall, pneumonia, flu, whatever it is, the hospitalization. And then you have to show progress. It's not as cut and dry as, well, they've been in the hospital, so they just come in. I told them this morning. When I started in my career, people would get a knee replacement, okay? My stepmom's having a knee replacement a week from today. And they're sending her home that night. Well, they used to come into the facility for 60, 80 days and stay with us and get rehab. The days are gone of that. There's just not. Our clients are getting maybe, if they're lucky, 15, 25 days. Never 100. Never 100. And those aren't guaranteed days. Those clients have to be working very hard, showing progress. I'm better today. I'm stronger today. I'm walking further today than I was yesterday. And a lot of times there's illnesses or dementia that makes those progressions even more difficult. So it's just, I think it's irresponsible to hang your hat on, well, mom has 100 days.
We got plenty of time. No, you don't.
Yeah. If this happens, I got 100 days, I'm good. No, you don't. Okay. Another misconception. Okay, we'll role play here, Larry. Okay, so
it's been a dream of mine for years.
I think I've got to get a divorce because I've heard this is going to.
I welcome you with open arms, John Rand.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, this wasn't personal. I'm talking about with the senior living. So,
no.
So for people who do think to save money, I've got to get a divorce, don't I?
Yeah. Oh, that's just crazy stupid.
Okay.
That's just so antiquated.
Why do they think that in the first place?
I guess because they listen to Cletus at the coffee club in the morning.
Cletus.
And Cletus knows more than everybody else.
I don't even know in the course of my career anybody that's even done that or talked about it. It's one of those like urban legends. It's not true. I've never even, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't even know where they got it. It's so wrong. I don't even know where they got it.
Yeah, it's just completely wrong, completely unnecessary. And that's probably the most devastating of the barbershop law. You just don't have to do that. That's why it's important for Kentuckians to come out to the workshops. It's an open invitation. Give up an hour and a half of your time. Did Kevin Harnett do beautiful for weather or what?
Oh, you're going to be,
I mean, we're like in the high 60s, early 70s. I mean, I knew Kevin, come on. I knew Kevin was good. I had no idea he was that good making the weather happen because he did for the workshops, and I know he did it for us. Thank you, Kevin Harnett, Wave 3 Weather.
Yeah, you're going to have a good crowd out there because
makes the weather now.
It's going to happen now. It won't be a crisis situation if you're with elder advisors. Go to these workshops, but it can be a crisis.
Yeah. It's worth the investment of your time to come out Monday, February 6th, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn, right off I-65 by the fairgrounds next to Cracker Barrel. And Tuesday, the 7th at 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn in Clarksville on Broadway off Veterans Parkway. Don't go broke in a nursing home because, quite frankly, you don't have to. Okay, I've got to sell the home. I'm going into a senior living facility, and I know they're just going to milk me dry, so I've got to sell the home. Well,
sometimes, but not always. Depends on your certain set of circumstances.
Right. And if you do, we want to sell it for the highest price we can because we're not going to do the air of resignation that Cletus at the coffee club tells you to do. Well, just let it go to the nursing home. Well, no. If worst case scenario you have to sell the house, we want to sell it for the maximum dollar. Why? Because we want to protect those assets. Because at a minimum, we should be able to protect about half of the assets. So we want to sell for as much as we can because everything is disclosed to the state. We play by the rules. You just have to know the way of doing it.
Yes, you got to know how to do it. That's right. If you don't know the rules, you can't play. And hey, believe me, that facility will be happy to take your checks. They're not going to help you out. I mean, that's not their job.
Their job.
That's right.
It's not their job. Their job is to provide care and activities, and their job is just not to protect your assets. That's our job. That's why you're going to come out to the workshop and talk to us. So that's really important. Something else that's important that I wanted to talk about. Okay, during COVID, placement was really hard. So what's the state of the art now in terms of placement and making sure that mom, dad, or whoever gets in the right facility? Sure, it's very interesting, and Autumn would be a great person to answer that question. She does a lot of our placements. I think it depends on which side of the river you're at. So Indiana is much different than Kentucky. What is maybe some of Kentuckiana doesn't know is there's different levels of care. So sometimes there's personal care or assisted living. Again, those vary slightly from the river on either side of the river. Do you need a memory care? So specialized memory care is nuanced. Male or female. So sometimes it's much harder to get a male memory care bed than a female memory care bed. So there's 1,000 nuances, and we know all of them, and then some. And so it's important. I think that illustrates the importance of just calling a professional, right, to do this, because you can just spin your wheels calling the first 12 maybe the wrong facilities. They don't have that level of care, or they don't have a bed, or they don't accept that insurance, whatever it is. So. And peace of mind. That's the goal. And as you said, protection, Larry. That is the word of the day. Word of the day. Word of the day. All right, protection. Protection of those assets. And peace of mind. All right. Before we go, then put up those
dates once again, on Monday, Tuesday. If you're here from around the Louisville area, Larry, invite.
Hilton Garden Inn, down by the Louisville Airport on Crittenden Drive, right off the expressway, exit 132 next to Cracker Barrel. Tuesday morning, Indiana on the 7th at the Hampton Inn in Clarksville on Broadway, right off Veterans Parkway. Come out, Kentucky, and don't go broke in a nursing home, because you don't have to. It's really that simple. You don't have to. Information, knowledge is power. We're trying to give you that information so you have some power to protect the assets so you don't go broke in a nursing home.
Lindsay Fleming, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy
I miss
Friday.
Tom Brady.
Larry Weiss, thank you very much. Really appreciate you as well. Have a good
Back
weekend.
at you, baby.
Have a good weekend.
I will.
It's going to be a good one.
It will be beautiful weather. Thank you, Kevin Arnott, Wave 3 weather.
All right, coming up here. Yes, it's Feel Good Friday. It's the weekend. What's happening at 2 o'clock? We'll tell you next on Wave Listens. Elder advisors don't go broke in a nursing home. Okay, you know their slogan, but what exactly do they do? With me now is the senior VP. She is Lindsay Fleming. And first of all, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
You were telling me you've already been busy. You're like those Army commercials. You do more before 6 a.m. Everyone else does all that, right?
I try. I've been to a couple of hospitals this morning. I'm on my way to a nursing facility after this, and we've seen clients in the office this morning. So yeah, busy day. Busy day.
What you may be wondering, what does Elder Advisors do exactly? It has expanded. The services have expanded because no one does what you guys do. It's very turnkey. If you have a senior loved one who's getting ready to move into a senior facility, or perhaps they're in one, you can eat through what, 9, 10, 12,000 a month?
Yeah, we say 9,000. That's for a skilled nursing facility, and we've got some that are up to 11 or 12,000, just depending on the level of care.
So how do you help folks?
We help folks in so many ways. So for one, we protect assets. So Larry's been doing this since 1996. I said 56 years. Is that 50? No, it's not. It's just 26. But he's been doing this for 26 years, and he's the financial component of it. So we can protect assets for a single person that's going into skilled nursing care or nursing home. We can protect about half. We can protect about half, sometimes more. And for a married couple, we can protect everything. We can protect 100% of the assets for a married couple. It just depends on what the needs are. But one of the things that we're doing now also is, as a board certified patient advocate, I'm able to come alongside families and help them navigate the care continuum. I'm working with a lovely little lady at Clark Memorial Hospital this morning, and she's cared out essentially of her assisted living home. She's too much care. She needs more care. So I'm walking with the family to try to find them other options and choices. We have placement issues. People are really struggling to find placement. Autumn is our placement specialist. She does a great job of knowing where the beds are, and we walk with families in a multitude of ways. But anything that they need kind of revolving around the aging process, we're here to help. Or we have community partners, much like you'll meet my friend Amanda in the next segment, that can help specifically the senior population.
Yeah, I'm really
And we talk about all of this coming up at our workshops. So freeworkshop.com or 855-Larry55. We have workshops coming up next Monday and Tuesday. So Monday at the Hilton Garden Inn. That's at 10 a.m. We usually do them in the evening, but we understand it's dark and with the time change, so we bumped it to the morning. So come on out to the Hilton Garden Inn. They're off Crittenden Drive. And then Tuesday at the same time, we'll be in Clarksville. So we talk about all of this. This is free, folks. It is free. There is no obligation. You know, we don't take your phone number and all of that good stuff right when you walk in and all of that. It's really for you guys to come in, take in the information, and then see if we can even help. So it's a free workshop, and we'd love to have you guys. And so many questions are answered just in the workshop.
Yeah,
right?
you give out good information, but you do the Q&A at the end too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yep, they have the opportunity to answer questions. And then if you guys like what you see, most people do. We have a very, very high percentage of folks that come out to the workshop and choose to take a free consultation with us. Absolutely free. You just come into the office. A lot of folks bring their documents. And it's not unusual, John. Somebody will come in and say, well, this is what we have. And we're like, all right, you're pretty good right now. You know, you don't need us, right? We can't help you if you don't need us. And other people, of course, are like, just, I don't know where to start. I don't have anything. And we really dig in with how we can help you and make your life easier, right? It's about protecting assets. But that second part of our sort of slogan or whatever, we protect assets. And more importantly, we provide peace of mind. So the families that I'm working with have peace of mind that they know what their options are. They know that, you know, I don't make choices for my families, but I help them understand what their choices are and make sure they know all of the resources available to them. So we're providing peace of mind.
What I have learned from you and Larry, there's so many different layers. Obviously, it's very personalized because, you know, maybe mom and dad are perfectly healthy. You need help with placement. You want to find the right spot for them. They can help you there. It's about protecting assets, yes, but maybe mom or dad are suffering maybe some mental issues, whether it be dementia, whatever the case, but you can help them there and find out the places to specialize. And then, but the main thing, too, is, you know, saving that money. Mom and dad worked hard for that. Why not hold on to it? So I like the fact that you have Q&A.
Yeah,
but now the next segment, a little bit of tease here. Real estate is a whole different animal, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of folks in their senior life, this next phase of life, whatever, you know, they're empty nested. They don't need the big home anymore because the kids are out, or you know, they're maybe earlier in the process and they want that retirement community, right? They're perfectly healthy, but they don't want to worry about a lawn or anything. And so we've got partners in the area, and you guys will meet Amanda next. She's fantastic. But that's different, right? That's a different thing than if me and my husband were like, well, we just want to move houses. That may take a realtor, right? But when we're working with the sensitive issues, like a lot of times adult children are involved with it, and what does this mean long term, and what are my needs? A senior real estate agent can really be helpful. All
right, that's a perfect setup. So we'll talk more about that. A senior real estate agent, what exactly can they do? What's their area of expertise? We'll cover that issue next on Wave Listens. Elder advisors don't go broke in a nursing home. Okay, you know their slogan, but what exactly do they do? With me now is the Senior VP. She is Lindsay Fleming. And first of all, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
You were telling me you've already been busy. You're like those Army commercials. You do more before 6 a.m. Everyone else does all that, right?
I try. I've been to a couple of hospitals this morning. I'm on my way to a nursing facility after this, and we've seen clients in the office this morning. So yeah, busy day.
So what you may be wondering, what does Elder Advisors do exactly? It has expanded. The services have expanded because no one does what you guys do. It's very turnkey. If you have a senior loved one who's getting ready to move into a senior facility, or perhaps they're in one, you can eat through what, 9, 10, 12,000 a month?
Yeah,
a month.
Yeah, we say 9,000. That's for a skilled nursing facility, and we've got some that are up to 11 or 12,000, just depending on the level of care.
So how do you help folks?
We help folks in so many ways. So for one, we protect assets. So Larry's been doing this since 1996. I said 56 years. Is that 50? No, no, it's not. It's just 26. But he's been doing this for 26 years, and he's the financial component of it. So we can protect assets for a single person that's going into skilled nursing care or nursing home. We can protect about half. We can protect about half, sometimes more. And for a married couple, we can protect everything. We can protect 100% of the assets for a married couple. It just depends on what the needs are. But one of the things that we're doing now also is, as a board certified patient advocate, I'm able to come alongside families and help them navigate the care continuum. I'm working with a lovely little lady at Clark Memorial Hospital this morning, and she's cared out essentially of her assisted living home. She's too much care. She needs more care. So I'm walking with the family to try to find them other options and choices. We have placement issues. People are really struggling to find placement. Autumn is our placement specialist. She does a great job of knowing where the beds are, and we walk with families in a multitude of ways. But anything that they need kind of revolving around the aging process, we're here to help. Or we have community partners, much like you'll meet my friend Amanda in the next segment, that can help specifically the senior population.
Yeah,
And we talk about all of this coming up at our workshops. So freeworkshop.com or 855-LARRY55. We have workshops coming up next Monday and Tuesday. So Monday at the Hilton Garden Inn. That's at 10 a.m. We usually do them in the evening, but we understand it's dark and with the time change, so we bumped it to the morning. So come on out to the Hilton Garden Inn. They're off Crittenden Drive. And then Tuesday at the same time, we'll be in Clarksville. So we talk about all of this. This is free, folks. It is free. There is no obligation. You know, we don't take your phone number and all of that good stuff right when you walk in and all of that. It's really for you guys to come in, take in the information, and then see if we can even help. So it's a free workshop, and we'd love to have you guys. And so many questions are answered just in the workshop.
Yeah,
right?
you give out good information, but you do the Q&A at the end too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
I like that.
Yep, they have the opportunity to answer questions. And then if you guys like what you see, most people do. We have a very, very high percentage of folks that come out to the workshop and choose to take a free consultation with us. Absolutely free. You just come into the office. A lot of folks bring their documents. And it's not unusual, John. Somebody will come in and say, well, this is what we have. And we're like, all right, you're pretty good right now. You know, you don't need us, right? We can't help you if you don't need us. And other people, of course, are like, just, I don't know where to start. I don't have anything. And we really dig in with how we can help you and make your life easier, right? It's about protecting assets, but that second part of our sort of slogan or whatever, we protect assets, and more importantly, we provide peace of mind. So the families that I'm working with have peace of mind that they know what their options are. They know that, you know, I don't make choices for my families, but I help them understand what their choices are and make sure they know all of the resources available to them. So we're providing peace of mind.
What I have learned from you and Larry, there's so many different layers. Obviously, it's very personalized because, you know, maybe mom and dad are perfectly healthy. You need help with placement. You want to find the right spot for them. They can help you there. It's about protecting assets, yes, but maybe mom or dad are suffering maybe some mental issues, whether it be dementia, whatever the case, but you can help them there and find out the places to specialize. And then, but the main thing, too, is that, you know, saving that money. Mom and dad worked hard for that. Why not hold on to it? So I like the fact that you have Q&A.
Yeah,
but now the next segment, a little bit of tease here.
Yeah.
Real estate is a whole different animal, isn't it?
It is, and a lot of folks in their senior life, this next phase of life, whatever, you know, they're empty nested. They don't need the big home anymore because the kids are out, or you know, they're maybe earlier in the process and they want that retirement community, right? They're perfectly healthy, but they don't want to worry about a lawn or anything. And so we've got partners in the area, and you guys will meet Amanda next. She's fantastic. But that's different, right? That's a different thing than if me and my husband were like, well, we just want to move houses. That may take a realtor, right? But when we're working with the sensitive issues, like a lot of times adult children are involved with it, and what does this mean long term, and what are my needs? A senior real estate agent can really be helpful. All
right, that's a perfect setup. So we'll talk more about that. A senior real estate agent, what exactly can they do? What's their area of expertise? We'll cover that issue next on Wave Listen. Welcome back, Elder Advisors. Don't go broke at a nursing home. We've been talking about what is a senior real estate agent. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly what a senior real estate agent does. How are they different from a, I don't know, generic real estate agent? But Amanda Russo knows.
She does know.
Amanda Russo is joining us.
She's got all the answers.
Yeah, she is a senior real estate agent. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. And thank you for that lovely segue that you had, Lindsay. That was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
So what exactly is a senior real estate agent, and why might a viewer need one?
Yes. Well, let me first just introduce myself. So I am with JXM Group at Keller Williams Louisville East. And what we do there, our team does a lot of senior real estate. So we are senior real estate specialists. And what that means is we have extra training to really help our 50-plus population when they are approaching these transactions. So we look at, medical concerns, whether they are current or future, as well as financial concerns, because as Lindsay said, they may be looking for something like a nursing home or assisted living, and if they don't do these transactions correctly, they may unknowingly disqualify themselves for some services, whether down the road they need to go into a nursing home and maybe they need Medicaid or even VA benefits. So these are very, very different transactions from your normal transaction, which is why, a senior real estate specialist is really what that population needs.
No, you articulated that well.
And,
yes.
and I think much like Amanda, there is 50 and plus and 60 and plus, and when there's a crisis or there's health concerns, there's an emotional, like we wear and we take on the emotional struggle of that, right? The adult child, I sat across from a couple this morning, a brother and sister, and mom's had a decline and she's in the nursing home, and you can just feel it. They're tired. They're tired, and it's hard. And I think having Amanda and her team with that senior, they understand that. They understand the heaviness and the, a grief is maybe like not exactly the right term, but there is a grief in, maybe a declining health, or maybe a spouse that's recently passed away, or the children are just grieving the aging of their parents. That's like a real thing. And so
it is. It's a lot. It's a very emotional transaction. So our job is to really help them kind of get through that and hopefully take away some of that stress and anxiety that they're going to experience.
This makes perfect sense. Another example of how Elder Advisors is expanding, and it does make sense because here's an obvious question here, but sometimes what if the senior loved one does not want to sell the home? You can make sure they do not have to, which is great, because that is sometimes people have a choice.
Yeah, and we do, and we maximize the rules. So with what Larry does with the financial considerations is if anybody goes into their tax accountant and says, hey, I want to pay as many taxes as possible. All of the rules that apply to me, I don't want to use them. I just want to pay the biggest bill possible. Well, what we do is look at the Medicaid rules, the laws. There's always a legal component to it. And we say, what rules apply to you, and let's apply all of them. For a husband and a wife, and I think that's barbershop law that Larry refers to often, but certainly in a husband and wife, we are not going to turn out a husband or a wife homeless because the spouse needs placement in a nursing facility. We can protect that. There are some other instances that we can do some protecting, and sometimes, the rules just say this home has to be sold, and when that, or the family wants to sell the house. I'm a wife, my husband's passed away, I don't want this house anymore. I don't want this space. I want something new, or I want something smaller, and that's where Amanda can come in and help.
So Amanda, I'm curious, just to clarify where your specialty lies. I think one of them at least would be the fact that, hey, because they're seniors, you may be able to help them with what's a smart move with taxes and to make sure they're not penalized for, is that correct? Because it is different than when you hit a certain age.
It is, and we're always going to encourage them to, talk to an attorney or someone like that when they're looking at things that are that specific. But, what we do is we know enough. My background is actually in a nursing home, and so I worked in long-term care for 9 years.
Oh, great.
So I know enough to be dangerous, but just to really make sure that they're taking the correct steps so that when those things do happen, they are in good shape.
What's great about this is we talked about how everything is different and personalized when you go to one of these workshops, and we'll talk when and where and why you should go. Good information, but to me, often real estate is involved. So this is good partnership here. You'll know when someone needs real estate help, I'm going to call Amanda. She's going to help me, right?
And what Larry's done and what Elder Advisors has done is that we don't do everything, right? I'm not a real estate agent. Larry's not a real estate agent. We're not attorneys. We're not tax.
You have an attorney,
we're not CPAs, but we've built a network of people that over the years we've vetted for integrity, for honesty, for competency, that we know, because our number one goal is to take care of the client. And if that's a real estate need, we're sending them to somebody who we know is going to take care of them. If it's a tax question, we're going to send them to somebody who we know is going to answer the phone, call them back. So that's what we've done, and that's really Amanda's kind of part of our network that we've done with that. And we talk about all of this at the workshop, and encourage anybody who just has a little question. I'm really not sure. Well, if you're asking if you think you might be eligible or maybe need to come and check it out, you need to come and check it out. So 2 options, Monday, January 9th at 10 at the Hilton Garden Inn, and then Tuesday, January 10th, 10 a.m. there in Clarksville at the Hampton Inn. So both of those, 855-LARRY55, you can call. Usually that's Suzanne that'll pick up the phone and get you booked, or you can go to freeworkshop.com. So we talk about all of this good stuff.
And Amanda, you're with Keller Williams. There are folks here, she mentioned some of your attributes, you know, honesty, integrity. You don't just handle seniors, right? If people like myself want to call you, well, well, wait a minute, I am a senior. Yeah. But for younger folks who say, I'm looking for a new home, or I want to buy or sell,
this is
talk to Amanda,
John,
right?
This is where we tell John Ramsey he's old. Like, you've officially, no,
wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow, this really kind of hurt. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can.
It's one way to be, it's one thing to be self-deprecating. It's another when you guys are just going to hand me a cane and then tell me.
It might be time, John. Have you gone to a workshop? No, I'm just saying.
I like it, though. But yes, they can call you, right?
Absolutely. We're happy to help anyone who is looking to buy, sell, or invest. And we come with all kinds of resources, and mostly even for the seniors, like she was saying. These kids are doing a lot of that heavy lifting, and so we want people to get us involved sooner rather than later, because they might be thinking, you know, we need to clean out the house, or, you know, it needs to fix this or paint that, and a lot of that might not actually be necessary. So getting us on board early on gives us the opportunity to really sit down, hopefully save them some money in the end, when we really look at what needs to happen in these senior real estate transactions.
How do they get a hold of you, Amanda? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Best way is my cell phone, and that is 502-235-5990.
Okay, there you go, Amanda Russo. Okay.
Come to the workshop. We have all of the partners.
Talk about that.
Yeah, we have a kind of a resource wall where we have partners information and all of this stuff. We dabble, you know, in this stuff. And if you've got a question during the Q&A, of course we'll have a stack of Amanda's cards. So come out and see us on Monday, January 9th. And one thing we really haven't talked about a little bit, John, that I'll just touch on is if you think you might be 65 one day, or if you're in that early 60 to 65 and you're still working, maybe you're catching us in the lunchroom, there's a place for you at our workshops. And so we do a lot of pre-planning too, which is smart, with folks early on. So we've kind of avoided the crisis altogether. And that's to go back to my family this morning, brother and sister, very stressed, kind of the weight of the world, right? Mom's declining, she's at the nursing facility, we're trying to get the assets protected, all of that stuff is happening. And I kind of just said, well, have you guys done any estate planning, right? Have you done any estate planning for you and your spouse? And it was like, no. And I said, well, put a pin in it, right? You're drowning right now. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But, you know, you'll want to circle back with us in a couple months when all of this is put to bed so that you can make your road just a little smoother. And then we can help with that as well.
Yeah, that may be your situation, or perhaps you're right now, currently you have a senior loved one who's eating through, you know, $10,000, $12,000 a month, and you want help. They can still help you at Elder Advisors. Attend those workshops. Amanda, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Isn't she great?
Nice to meet you. She is great. And you as well, Lindsay Fleming.
Thank you.
So is Larry going to be back with us?
Larry will be with us tomorrow.
Okay.
So, yes.
Larry will be here.
Larry will be here. I know you guys miss him. I know. Larry. Kentuckiana. Larry still loves you, Kentuckiana.
That's right. The very entertaining.
Yes.
Larry.
Check us out at freeworkshop.com, or pick up the phone and call 855-LARRY55, and we'll get you reserved for the workshop.
All right, really good information. All right, we'll take a break here, and then coming up, hopefully we'll be able to talk to Don G about what's happening on Wave Country at 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. We shall return.